This is Alison with another video. Today's video will show you how to make this card using the Winter Wishes stamp set from the holiday catalog. Let's get started. The first thing I want to do is create the little window. So I'm going to bring in the large background stamp, the wood grain background stamp. And I find it easiest if I put the wood side down and have the rubber facing up. And then I take my stamp pad and I just tap it all over the top of my stamp. This color is soft suede. And then I place my piece of cardstock right on top. So I'm just going to center it. And then I'm careful not to move it. I take a piece of scrap paper, I put it on top, and I just rub gently, remove the scrap, and then I can bring up my piece and the wood grain image is perfectly transferred. So let me get that out of the way. The second thing I want to do is cut out the frame. And to do that, I'm using a framelit that I'm going to place in the center of my stamped image. And then I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. I'm going to end up with this little piece that's cut out as a frame. Next thing we want to do is stamp and color our image. Here's the image. It's a little old-fashioned sleigh, and it's got the little wreath on top and the two little birds. It's really cute. I like to use StazOn ink when I'm watercoloring, just so that the water doesn't smear the ink. And I just apply the StazOn right to my rubber, and then I'm going to just stamp the image. Next thing I want to do is to take my colors and color it in. And I find watercoloring really easy with our stamp pads because you can squeeze the top to the bottom here and it transfers the ink into this little well here, and that's where you can pick up your colors. So I'm going to set my colors here to do my watercoloring. I've got Cherry Cobbler, I have Old Olive, I have Crumb Cake, and I have Soft Suede. I'm going to start with, it doesn't really matter how you start, but I like to just start with the background and work in. So I've got Crumb Cake here, and I'm just picking it up with an aqua painter. These are great. If you haven't tried one of these, you have to get them. They come in a package of 2, and you just keep refilling them with water all the time. So you don't have to have that little bowl of water on your table and you inevitably hit it and spill it all over your project, right? So this way it keeps it all contained. So I'm just gonna, and you just really are brushing the color on. You're not trying to be precise or perfect because you're just doing watercoloring. So now I'm going to pick up the soft suede and I'm going to go in and just add it to my sled. And again, leave some white spots because watercoloring isn't about filling everything in. It's kind of just about almost like a little whitewash, and this particular stamp really lends itself to that because it's just so old-fashioned looking. And make it a little dark in certain areas, just to make it look a little bit weathered. Next I'm going to, and between colors, you just brush off your brush on your scrap piece of paper, and then you can go and pick up the next color. And I don't go and do this individually. I'm just running my whole aqua painter all over that wreath. It gets lighter in places sort of naturally and darker in other places, and that just lends itself to the whole watercoloring look. Doesn't matter if you go outside the lines. That's what it's all about. And then I'm going to go into my Cherry Cobbler and just add color to my little bow here. Like so. And then I'm going to make these little cardinals. This reminds me of Eastern Canada because that's sort of where you see cardinals. We don't see them out here in Vancouver, but when I was a kid we used to see them occasionally. So there you go. Simple as that. The next thing I want to do is just bring in all the little elements. So we've created our frame, which is going to go over our stamped image like so. And for the background, I used an embossing folder. It's brand new. It's called Wood Grain, and it's just ran it through on one side of my cardstock. So this is actually forming the front of the card, but it goes so well with both the image, because we've got the wood in the image, or the wood look, and we've got this wood grain look on our frame, so it all ties together. So here's how I would put this together. I would stick my image down in the center of my card, just like so, with snail. And then the next thing I would do is take dimensionals and pop up my frame on top, just to give it a little bit of space between image, like so. And then I wanted something to finish it off because it looked a little plain. So I've stamped Merry Christmas. This is from Teeny Tiny Wishes. This has got tons of stamps. It's great, and it actually comes in clear now, so it's really reasonable. There's 24 images, I think, and I just stamped it and then punched it out with the word window, and then I mounted the whole thing on the Modern Label punch just as a nice layer in Cherry Cobbler. So I'm just going to put dimensionals on both ends of that. And stick that on the front, like so. And then the last thing I want to do is add a little bow. So I've used the Plum Cake seam binding. It comes in a 10-yard roll. It's really beautiful and pretty and soft. And I've just tied it into a little loose bow. And the last thing I want to do is add one of these fabulous antique brads. They come in a little container with 24 of them, and they're really reasonably priced, and there's all different sizes and shapes. And what I do is I open the back like that. I just open the prongs so they're open. I take my bow and I place it over top of the bow, and when I turn it over, I've got those prongs, I just bend them to the back of my bow. I find that the easiest way to apply it. And then I'm just going to use a glue dot and stick that on top. Here's the finished card again, using the Winter Wishes stamp set. All the information at the end of the video will detail the supplies that I used. And if you live in Canada, you can order these supplies through me, and they can be delivered directly to your door. I also have a customer appreciation program where you earn free points based on your purchases, and when your card is full, you earn free merchandise. So check that out at the link on my blog at the end. Thank you very much, and happy stamping.